So you've started walking a little more and now your ankles hurt. Or maybe your calves get tight, or maybe you've even got shin splints. Now, if any of this sounds familiar to you, or you plan on starting to walk, or maybe even going for runs, then these exercises that both lengthen and strengthen all the muscles that you need is going to help you no end. Some of the exercises I show you today are only going to use your body weight. However, I want you to get to your goal as quickly as possible, and sometimes basic equipment works best. So today we're going to be using a foam roller, we're also going to be using a resistance band and a tennis ball, or in this case, a lacrosse massage ball. If you have any of those pieces of equipment, this is really going to speed up your journey towards less ankle pain or maybe stronger feet in general, and you are going to then be able to walk freely or run as much as you like. So we're going to be targeting 3 areas specifically, and first off we're going to target the front of the legs, the shins. We are going to be hitting a muscle in particular called the tibialis anterior. I'm going to show you a lengthening and strengthening exercise that's going to target that area specifically. We're then going to move on to the calf muscle, and then we're going to move on to the ankle joint itself. There's a couple of ways I use to target stretching the tibialis anterior or the front of the shin, but none works better than using a soft foam roller, and that's what I'm going to show you here. So this is a fairly soft foam roller. You can go to soft to maybe medium to firm. You don't want to go too harsh on this. Now what we're going to be doing is hitting that tibialis anterior. Now if I show you here on my shin, that essentially is you've got your shin bone that runs down the middle here. You don't want to be rolling on bone. You're going to roll off to the outside. So if we look at my right leg here, we're going to come off to the outside and we're going to roll it on that side. I'll show you from a few angles here, but I'll roll it here. So we're going to place the roller down like so, and then from here I'm simply going to get my leg onto the roller, and now I'm turning my leg out so my foot is facing inwards, and now I'm going to roll down. Now I've actually lifted my back foot off, and again you'll be able to see this from another angle, but as we're here, I'm now, when I've found a sort of tight spot along that muscle that runs down the front of the shin there, off to the right in this case, I'm going to just what I call floss in this angle. So now I can feel that trigger point, and now I'm just simply flossing away. Now you want this to be, you know, you want to be able to feel it, but you don't want this feeling incredibly uncomfortable. You want to be working, say, if 10 is outrageously painful and 0 is nothing, you want to feel around a 5 or a 6 as you do this action. So you're going to work your way up and down the shin. Now this is really super effective. This is a great way of stretching out the tibialis anterior that runs here. So obviously you'll do it on both sides. And again, I'll come around to this side as I show here again. All you want to do is find your best way of getting comfortable. I set myself up and now I turn myself out. So I'm onto the outside of that shin area. And from here, see, I've found a little trigger point here. So now as you can see with my foot, I'm just flossing away there, and you'll feel the muscles work and they'll press into the foam roller in this case. Now you don't want to fight against it, as I said, you just want to feel that you can really feel that muscle being massaged and stretched. And that is then going to allow you to get into the strengthening exercise that I'm just about to show you next. Now, if ever there was an exercise that looked easy, that really isn't, the tibialis anterior raise using a wall is that exercise. So here what I'm going to do is I am about shoulder width away from the wall here, is I'm going to allow myself to come back into the wall, and my feet are going to stay where they are. Now from here, I'm going to imagine that I'm doing a plank. So here I want to engage the core, I want to keep the hips nice and engaged. I don't want to be bending at the hips or thrusting my hips out here. We're keeping a nice firm position. I'm going to turn my hands out like so, and now we're going to be strengthening those tibialis anterior, or the front of the shins. And all we're going to do in this position is raise our toes up, keeping the core engaged at the same time, raising the toes as high as you possibly can. This is going to work those muscles on the front of the legs. They're incredibly hard. Now your job is to drive those toes in the air as high as you can, hold this position, and then come down nice controlled as you do this. Now, you can get to maybe 10, 12, 15, even 20 reps, and you're going to start to feel a burning sensation in those muscles where they are maybe weak or slightly underused. Now, this is a great strengthening exercise, particularly after you have done the foam roller stretching exercise that I showed just a moment ago. Now, you can take this a step further. However, I would suggest first off that you progress to doing 3 sets of 20 repetitions, and once that becomes incredibly easy and you no longer feel the burn, now you have a couple of options. You can bring your legs away slightly. However, I'm a much bigger fan of using a resistance band, and that's exactly what I'm about to show you right now. So now we're going to take things a step further, and we're really going to work those muscles on the front of the shin really hard by simply using a resistance band. Now, as you can see here, I've got it hooked up at around ankle level. Now, you could use an upright like I am. Maybe you've got a sofa or a couch which is very heavy. You could secure the band around one of the legs, or you could use a door anchor that you might find with, say, a suspension trainer. That works very well to secure the band. Once you're in this position, you're going to do 2 things. One, you're going to shuffle back so that you've got some resistance, i.e. the foot is wanting to be pulled away from you. And then secondly, you're going to make sure that this leg that is supporting here is going to stay straight. That knee is pushing into the floor like so. And from here, your only job is to bring those toes up towards your face. So you're coming up like so. Now, my range isn't very impressive. Yours may well be more than mine. However, the key is here to make sure you are working those muscles. And I can tell you right now, those muscles on the front of the shin there are on fire when I'm in this position. Now, I'm going to hold the toes up, facing towards me. This is great. This is an isometric move, meaning essentially you're not going anywhere. However, those muscles are contracted. They're working hard in this position. So I'm going to hold this briefly, and then I'm going to go into my reps. I'm going to go for 20 reps, and if you can get 3 sets of 20, that's great. And if you're starting to find that easy, then there's one simple way to make this harder, and that's to move back. So as I come back here, now when I come through with this action, now I'm having to work a lot harder. Now those muscles are working even harder. Now I will say less is more here. Don't worry too much about the range and really focus on getting that squeeze, particularly in that position right here where we're really squeezing those muscles. That is really where you want to work hard. Hold that for a few seconds. It's going to light up. It's really going to get burning. But don't work to the point of uncomfortableness. Work to the point where you're strengthening those muscles. Now, if you continue to do this over time, maybe it's after a walk, maybe it's before, and maybe it's on your off day, this is really going to benefit you. It's really going to strengthen those muscles. And particularly when you use the stretching exercise I showed earlier with the foam roller, this is really going to start to bulletproof the front of the shins. So if there is a stretch that you're familiar with, this will be it. We're going to be using the foam roller to stretch and lengthen and massage essentially those calf muscles. So the best way to do it, using our soft to medium roller here, we don't want it too firm, is to pop your first leg on top of the roller here. So here I've got my calf muscle on there. I'm not too worried about the placement as of yet. And now what I'm going to do is just elevate my hips slightly off the floor. So here I've now popped a little bit more weight, and I'm simply going to explore, find trigger points, which essentially are sore points, if you like, around on that calf muscle. And you're going to find quite a few. You can turn the foot in, you can turn the foot out. You're going to find those points. Once you find a trigger point, so for example, here is one on me, then what you're going to do is floss and gently floss that foot, meaning essentially you're going to point it away from you and then bring it up. Now that is going to work the muscles whilst they are being massaged, kneaded by the roller itself. Now you can do that on both legs, obviously, and that is a great way. I don't tend to spend too long doing this. 90 seconds to 120 seconds per leg is great. I don't want to overdo it. I'm just preparing it for the exercises that are coming next. But then what I can do, if I really want to make this a little bit more intense, if that's your thing, then what we can do is pop our other leg on top, and then we raise our hips off the floor and then I can continue to do this. And again, I will floss when I find that position there. Now I have my full weight on that calf, and this is a lot more intense. Now again, if I'm using a kind of rating system, 0 being that you're not really feeling anything at all, and 10 being that it's incredibly painful, you certainly don't want to be there. You want to be hitting around that 6 to 7 marker where you're really feeling like you are creating a neurological change. Essentially what you're getting to do is you're getting your brain to relax this calf muscle off, allowing you then to go in the strengthening exercise that we're just about to do. Calf raises, not a new exercise. However, we're going to turn things up a little bit and make things work just a little bit harder and a little bit different by using a tennis ball. Well, actually I have a lacrosse ball here. This is a massage ball. It's fairly hard, but a tennis ball works perfectly well. Now what we're going to do is we're going to place that in between our ankles, like so. I'm going to get it there when we come into the calf raises. I'm going to use the wall to rest up against. I'm going to get myself maybe 2 shoulder widths away from the wall here. And then what I'm going to do is place that tennis ball, in this case the lacrosse ball, in between my ankles like so. Now from here, you're going to shuffle back, get yourself in position. Now I want to make sure that my core is engaged. I want to make sure that my ankles, and in this case my calf muscles, are doing the work, and I don't want to work for a range that I can't control, but again I'll explain that in a moment. So as we come here, I'm going to make sure my feet are nice and straight, and I'm going to come up onto my toes. You're going to feel the calf muscles work, and you're going to press your ankles into the tennis ball. You don't want to let go of that tennis ball. And this is the action. Notice how controlled it is. I'm not trying to reach for the stars here. I'm just trying to make sure I'm working for a range that I control and lowering with control. Now, I'll show a version here where I'm on a step. If you feel you're more advanced at this, then you'll come up onto a step. That's going to allow the ankles to come down a little bit further below the height of the toes. That's going to make this exercise slightly harder and work it through more range. Now you could do this on some stairs or wherever you find is the most convenient and safest place to do it. Now, what I said before was that I want to take things a step further. I don't just want to go up and down because our calf muscles don't work that way. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to tilt off to the left. So I'm going to bring myself off here and I'm going to come up to the left, and then I'm going to come up to the right. So now I'm going to go between the two. So as we come in, I'm going left and right alternately. So as we go through here, we're going to feel different parts of the calf muscle working. This might be a new experience for you, working in this way. So once you've done that and you feel you've got control of that, now you're going to come in, and bear in mind that we are strengthening the calf muscles here when we do this. You are going to create circles. Now don't be surprised if this is incredibly hard to do, and you might find that you cannot really create very good circles. Persevere with it. You're going to be working those muscles incredibly hard. This is not only going to strengthen your calf muscles, but it's really going to strengthen and work the ankle joint in itself on both feet. So as you come through, you're pressing into that ball, tennis ball, lacrosse ball, making those circles. Now that will get incredibly fatiguing incredibly quickly, particularly if you're only ever used to going up and down. Here we're going around in circles, left and right. It's a really great way of working the calf, strengthening the calf in a really dynamic way. As for reps, how many should you do? That really is going to depend on you. You want to make sure you're strengthening the calf muscles, not going so hard that you're creating cramp in those calf muscles. So work to a level that you find acceptable. Now, if I was to give a ballpark figure, if you were to do, say, 30 seconds of rotations one way and 30 seconds the other in a nice controlled way, that would be a really great starting point. And then you can build up, increasing the range for that set amount of time, and then ultimately working up to, say, a minute of these dynamic movements, just moving in different directions. That way you're going to be strengthening the calf muscles from all angles and also strengthening the ankle joint itself. So we're done with the exercises that I suggest, but I want you to throw in one extra mobility exercise, particularly that focuses on the ankles. So here what we're going to do is get ourselves in a lunge position, And then we are going to explore the range of the ankle. We're going to apply a little bit of pressure for our own control, and we're going to work out how much range we have, and also just go to the edge of that range there so that we can generally over time build up the range safely of the ankle. So I'm going to run through this. So what we're going to do, if we place ourselves up against the wall here, now what I'm going to do is place my foot maybe about half a foot width away from the wall. Now all I want to do is place my hands on my knee like so, and I'm gently going to come forward. Now I'm just applying just a gentle bit of pressure. I'm looking to keep that heel down, and as I come through here, I'm just going to hold this position. I'm going to hold for a set amount of time, take a nice deep breath in, and on the way out, just going to apply a little bit of gentle pressure with my hands on the top of my knee here. Now I'm not forcing anything here, and generally what we're going to do is really go in and see if we can get that knee to the wall. If you do get the knee to the wall, then what you will do is shuffle back slightly. But again, working through your own power here. We're not forcing this. None of this is forced. So as you come in again, we'll come into the end range here. So this is where my logical end is. And now what I'm going to do is take a nice deep breath in. And on the way out, see if I can go a little bit more. Now that is a really great way over time steadily of progressing your ankle health, ankle mobility, and the range you're going to get. Now that's going to help even if it is just walking that you are doing. Those ankles go through a big range as you do that. Now you can take it one step further. As you may know by now, I'm a big proponent of moving in different directions. We can do the same with the ankle. So if I come here, we're in this lunge position as we just saw. So as we come forward, now we can explore within the range that is comfortable for you, left and right in that stretched position like so. Again, we're not looking to over push the position. And again, obviously you would repeat on both legs as you come through here. Again, we come into that stretch position, and then we're working left and right, keeping that foot as still as possible the whole time. Now, this isn't something that's going to change overnight. It's something to work on as and when. Just don't over push this. You want to increase the range of motion safely, and this is a great way to do it even if you are 8 or 80 years old. This is a really great way of using your own body weight to increase your ankle mobility. So there you have it. The exercises are going to help you become a walking warrior, or they are going to eliminate that nagging pain whilst you are running. If you found this useful, please click the subscribe button below. Also, pop a comment in there if you found this useful, and please check out theworkingbody.com for all things health, fitness and wellness.